Welcome back to another episode of Monday Minutes. And today I am going to get deep down and vulnerable, I guess, about living with someone that has mental illness. I mean, if you follow me on social media, I have posted a lot about my son Noah recently. And not only has it been an extremely difficult journey for Noah, it's also been a really, really difficult journey for me and my husband and his siblings, and really all of his family, because he does have mental health issues. And when I look at him through a lens of empathy, I see a young man who has so much fear that it controls his entire life. He has so much anxiety. And so he has chosen to self-medicate with, THC. I know there are a lot of medicinal properties for THC, and I'm not disputing that. But for some people, especially people with mental illness, um, it can lead to psychosis. It can lead to, you know, mental health worsening symptoms. Um, And in Noah's case, it led to a condition called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. And this is a syndrome in which, after so much THC is built, or cannabinoid is in your system, your stomach starts to convulse. And you get so sick that you can't keep fluids in, you can't keep food in. Noah has lost a ton of weight. He's skin and bones, and unfortunately, this is not the first bout that he's had with this cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. So the treatment is time. So you can imagine getting sick for 2 weeks straight, not being able to eat, and then having to go to the hospital, and your mental health isn't in check because you can't take any medicines. So it's a challenge all the way around. It's a challenge for us as his family. It's a challenge for him because he doesn't trust the healthcare system. He doesn't trust medication. He doesn't trust himself. And we've been through this so many times. Well, last week he became so violently ill, and he's lost so much weight. He finally agreed to go to the emergency room, and unfortunately had some, really serious health conditions, and they sent him to Cleveland Clinic. And here he is at Cleveland Clinic with the same fears controlling his thought process and choices, and he ended up leaving Cleveland Clinic. I can't tell you the amount of stress that that puts on a family and people that care about him. But I have to keep in mind that his thought process, his thinking, is not the same as mine or yours. And I started thinking about, compassion fatigue, and how difficult it must be for people that deal with somebody with cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome to treat them, and how hard it is for us to love somebody that is sick and full of anxiety and fear and depression and mood swings that are up and down. So I decided to I will say that Noah had made the decision to get help, and he is now inpatient in an inpatient facility that he found, he took care of, he sought out, and he's doing well just for today. So, what are some pointers that I can share with you that I have used for me because I cannot be the only parent out here that has a child with mental illness. And it's often not talked about. We don't share these things because there's such stigma attached to it for not just the families, but for the person. So I kind of jotted down a couple of ideas, and one is to set limits. So, for example, when Noah left the Cleveland Clinic, it took a little while, and then he decided that he wanted to get help again. And I had to set the limit that I was not going to take care of any of that for him. He had to do it. Now, I have a medical background, I have connections. I wanted to call some places and see what I could do, but I made the decision that that was a limit, a healthy limit that I needed to do for me and for Noah. And I think him taking that action and making all the calls and getting the arrangements made was beneficial for both him and for me. Because I can't tell you how many times I have tried to find help and then he doesn't follow through. So setting limits is really important. It was for me, it still is. Practicing self care, right? So when we get so caught up in actions that our loved ones are doing or, potential harm, and for me, like I've already lost a child. So I have some fears around that as well. But self care is something that I do for me that makes me feel better. And when you take care of yourself, it's really helping everyone around you. So, yesterday I had a fun day of painting with my granddaughter. We painted, we had a dance party. You know, we talked, we chatted, and that is something that I do for me. I also do prayer and meditation. Um, at night, we listen to meditation music and just kind of go into that deep state of relaxation before bed. I try not to look at my phone before bed anymore because that screen time is not healthy for a good night's sleep. Seeking support. So I know it's talked about a lot, but sometimes it's hard to reach out for help, and I did. I was driving home from an amazing event with the collaborators of this book that I've written, Radical Freedom, and I have some really big opportunities, and I was so excited, but yet my insides were just shaking. Like I couldn't get rid of this anxiety and grief. And I called a friend and I let the tears flow on the way home. And I felt better because sometimes that's exactly what you need to do. Release, let go of those things and share it with somebody that you can trust and you can talk to. And it will obviously cut that anxiety in half. Now, of course, I had more work to do. I still do. And I am seeking some support groups for this because I do believe that there is strength in unity. So, practicing mindfulness, that is deep breathing, meditation, yoga. You guys know my feelings about this. I love it. So, one of the things that I was doing is breath work. And when you're doing breath work, you can't really, your mind doesn't wander. So, I do a simple exercise of breathing in for 4, holding for 2, and breathing out for 6 and holding for 2. And I did that over and over and over until I was able to feel a little bit more calm and a little bit more relaxed. Um, Setting healthy boundaries. This is one that I admittedly have struggled with Noah. Um, it's been difficult because we do financially support him, and um, but he also doesn't live with us, which has been extremely helpful for both him and for us. But boundaries can also be ending a conversation that is destructive, or not responding to inappropriate things that are being said to you, or not helping when they are capable of helping themselves. And it's hard, but it's necessary for healing for both him and for us. And then it's always important to give yourself grace, right? Because I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. Our relationship isn't perfect, but we're all doing the best that we can. And I think when you're in a challenging situation, it does not help to judge you, them, or your responses. You have to give yourself as much grace as you possibly can and realize that you are doing the very best that you can do. I hope this helps somebody. I don't know what the outcome of this will be, but I have to remain optimistic that everything is happening in my favor. Everything is happening in Noah's favor, and the healing continues. All right. If you have any comments or suggestions, or you want to share something that you've experienced, please leave me a note in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And in the meantime, go do something for yourself. And if you want, I do have a new fluid art course coming out very soon. You can also download my free freedom journal, because we all need freedom. And journaling has been a staple in my life, especially over the past year with my coach, Jessica Hughes, um, to be the very best version of myself that I can be. All right. Thanks for listening.